Alright guys, so here we are with the Atari. So today I'm going to play Berserk and do a little test on everything to make sure that it all works. I don't know if we can get that in focus or not. But it's Berserk for the Atari 2600. Put it in, turn it on. Alright, it starts right up just like it's supposed to. Now what we gotta do is test the controller. So I'm going to hit the game reset and go right. Oh, well, I'm trying to go right. Alright, well, he kind of goes right. You really got to press hard, though. Oops, walking to the wall there. That's going to kill me. So, yeah, as you can see here, it sets me right next to him. If I take the controller and I push right, he's not going. But if I really move it right, then he goes. So, it really should not be this difficult to move him right. The left and the up, barely touch it, and it goes, right? You really got to move it. Sometimes he's going down. There it goes. Alright. This is controller with intermittent right. Now what we're going to do is just turn it off. Switch controllers, because I have two controllers for it. We'll plug in controller number 2. Make sure that's seated in there well. Turn it on. Give it a reset. Alright, so down, right, 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 right. It's not taking the right at all. No amount of moving this guy that direction makes it go. And since Berserk always starts you on the left side of the screen, you're pretty much at a loss for this game. You can't play it. Alright, controller number 2 has no right at all. Time to take them apart and see if we can fix it. Alright, welcome back everybody. So, we have our Atari joystick here, ready to be repaired. This is the one that intermittently goes right. So, works sometimes, not all the time. Over here, we're going to use a number 2 Phillips head screwdriver. I've got a replacement joystick part because I'm assuming that it's the plastic has cracked and worn out, and that's what's going to be causing our issue with the functionality of it here. Last thing I would recommend is something to store your screws in, because nothing worse than losing screws, so having something with a grid can be really helpful for that. So if you've never taken apart an Atari joystick, what you want to do is, you see you got 4 number 2 Phillips head screws in there, so you just want to go ahead and remove those. Just don't mind me while I unscrew these screws. Please enjoy. Alright, what I'm going to do is, I've got also, this is a handy tool to have when I get it. If you ever get something that is kind of stuck in there, you can use sometimes a magnet. It's not magnetic enough to get it out, or give it a light little tap. Oh, that doesn't want to come out. Alright, well, we're just going to catch it right under here, because I know the screws are all dislodged, and we're going to take it out. Now when you open it up, oh, that's why I couldn't get the screws out. Someone's gone ahead and put in like a paper backer for the screws. I got, there we go. That's an interesting way to do it. Looks like somebody's already attempted a repair of this before. Got some nasty stuff in there. Let me get my little air puffer. Clean out some of this dust and debris. Now here's an important piece. This, if you can see, that is the spring. This is what makes your joystick button spring back for you. That was all the way underneath that piece of cardboard that somebody had inserted in there. Looks like some kind of macaroni and cheese or something. So what we're going to do then is take this is your button. We're going to reapply the spring onto the button and then set it down carefully so we don't lose that. We've got our 4 screws, putting them into the little tray I brought out for them so that way they don't roll off and disappear. And then you just basically just pull this thing right out. Looking at it, it's not too bad, but we definitely have a crack here. We got cracks forming here. Really, these things are just thin plastic, so they are susceptible to cracks and damage, and they do wear out over time. Being that this device is 40 years old, I don't know if or when that's been replaced, but that's okay, because I've got my brand new one right here, ready to go. So we're going to go ahead and install that. It aligns up this way here with the little notch. Fits right in between these 2 posts. So you just kind of press it in all the way. Squeeze it down on the other side to make sure it's seated nice and tight in there. And then we're going to put it back together. In case you're wondering, the way that this works is that you have little buttons here, 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 and there. That one represents your red button. This guy sits right on top of that and presses that down. So that's how that one works. That's obviously up, right, down, and left. So let's put it back together and see what we get of it now. So first things first, get our button in there, make sure the spring is still being held on. We're going to take our board, make sure it's aligning properly on there because you got to make sure the screws go through without damaging anything. You know, you're not trying to put new screws in it. So really what you do is you just kind of place it on there. Actually, what we're going to do is flip it over, place it on our joystick first. And there's little holes that this will meet into to let you know you got it in the right spot. And then we'll just put that on top. And now it's ready for the screws. So with these metal screws, and then you're putting them into plastic housing, one little tip that I've learned over the years is you want to take your screwdriver and you want to twist it left, counterclockwise. And then if you listen closely, you hear that? A little snap right there? That lets you know that you've threaded it correctly. And then you can feel free to drive it in the rest of the way. Don't over tighten them though, because this plastic is prone to stripping, which is why you take your time and make sure that when you turn it, there it is, that click, and then start to tighten them in. Always turn them counterclockwise first, you know, lefty loosey, righty tighty, before you drive it in. Make sure that it clicks into place and you don't end up cross threading it, because once this plastic is cross threaded, that's it. There's nothing else that can be done to solve that. There we go. That one was a short little turn. Got that click, and now it's all tightened up. Alright, quick and easy. That button is way more responsive now than it was before. This doesn't have much give to it, which is nice because you don't want to have to be able to move it very far to get responsiveness out of it. So I'm hoping that that's going to solve it for the one that was intermittent. Which is interesting because I assumed that the one that was going to be fully broken was going to have some kind of contraption like this in it. But it clearly doesn't. Someone, I don't know what their thoughts were behind inserting that in there, but we don't need it. So now we get joystick number 2. This is the one that I labeled as no right because it's not right. It doesn't go right. There is no right in it. And it's the same process. So if you remember, first things first, we need to remove the 4 screws in it. So we'll start with that. While we're doing this, I just want to say a big thanks out to Tim Babb and the team at Collectaholics for giving me the opportunity to be able to do these things. I want to thank my kids, especially the little sponge, T Mason D. Trevor and Toys is his YouTube. Give him a little shout out. He helped me build a little contraption out of Legos to be able to mount my phone on today to record this video. So, shout out to him as well. Alright, last screw. And now we open her up. So you just catch a nail or something underneath there, give it a little pry, it usually comes right out like that. Okay, our button is also loose here, but you know what though? This looks alright. A little bit of dust in it. Blow some of that dust out of there. A little bit of dust underneath. Blow some of that dust out of there. This guy's handy. Nice little bulb to blow dust with. Because, you know, compressed air runs out. This never does. Alright, we're going to set that aside for right now. And we're going to take a look at this joystick. Just like I said, give it a good pull and it'll come right out for you. Yeah, this has been not in the best shape. Lots of cracks. Looks like it's been through the works. So we're going to go ahead and scrap it. Put a new one in. Remember? The rectangular piece sits where? All right, that's right. Between these two posts. You just put it in there and give it a shove. And you just kind of squeeze it in. Go on the other side. Press down your strain relief on the controller handle. And there you go. And now it's seated in there. And then we're going to take it and throw our button back in. Which also has its spring still. Whoops. You don't want to take the spring off. You need that spring. Take our control board and slip that over top of the posts. There we go. Flip that right over onto here. Hold it tight and drive your screws. Alright, so left, hear that click? Tighten her up. Take the next one, put it in there left. There's that click, tighten her up. And we're going to do this 2 more times, and you know you're going to hear it. That's right. I'm going to say left. There's that click, tighten her up. See the pattern going on here? And last screw. So we're going to go ahead and take a left. Boy, I'm not hearing a click. I think I got it. This one might have already been cross-threaded from a previous repair that somebody did. I'm not going to tighten that one too much, just in case. Alright, now... Oh yeah, that feels a lot better. Not much give to it at all. Button's nice and springy. Well, let's connect her up and see what we got.
Thanks for carrying on. You're welcome.
Alright guys, so here we've got the controller. This is the no right one as I labeled it, so this one does not turn right at all. I'm going to go ahead and plug her in. Turn on Berserk again, because we know that Berserk's a good one. It always places you on the right or the left side of the screen, so you have to move right off the rip. Give it a reset. Yeah, and we still have no right. Alright, this board is a bad board, I think. I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit more investigation into it, but it looks like we've got ourselves a bad board altogether. So, no fix on this guy. No right still. Left works, because I can walk into the wall and die. Alright, that's okay. What we're going to do now is take the other controller that I've taken apart and put a new joystick into, and give that one a test. See what our story tells us there. Or see what story it tells us there. Alright, come on you. Alright, Berserk again. Joystick. Ooh. Boy, that moved over nice. Button works good, very responsive. Oh, there it goes. Yeah, it's just, you know, it's 40 years old. It's not going to be perfect. But it does go right. Left, right, oh. Yep, it takes a little bit. This might need a new board too. I'm going to see if I can order a couple new boards. And we'll be back, but at least I have something that works for now to where I can play Berserk. I wonder if that cardboard was in there as an additional spacer to create more tension to press the button. We'll experiment some more. Thank you so much, guys, for watching the video today. Hopefully you learned a little bit about an Atari. If not, I didn't teach much. Oh well. See you next time. Alright, guys. Well, what I've come to the conclusion of is that the board is actually fine. I see no issue with the board itself. After testing it with my meter, I have discovered that it is actually the wire that's bad. Just the brown one. Of course, just the brown one. So, I've got more parts on the way. Just going to replace the entire wire on it. It's easier than trying to take that all apart and find the break in the brown wire and replace that. I'm just going to replace the whole wire part. And stay tuned. Next week we will see that come in with the pieces I need to crimp it back onto the board. And we'll give that a shot. Thanks so much for watching. Alright, we'll see you soon. Well, guys, after it's all said and done, we've got one working controller and one not working controller. So, I guess that's better than we were in before. If you like what you saw here, remember to subscribe and like it. And, yeah, we'll see you next time, and check out the rest of the Collectaholics team.